Welcome to the Lessons from Your Hairstylist podcast, where we uncover and leverage your unique beauty and personal style. I'm your host, Sarah Cruz, a beauty industry educator and hairstylist with 30 years experience. This show is dedicated to providing you with insights and practical advice for living a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled life. Experience that special stylist-client bond right here as we dive into conversations with experts in beauty and wellness. Here, you'll gain valuable tips on personal style and self-care to empower your journey. Join me to unlock the secrets to living beautifully well while elevating your lifestyle, mind, body, and spirit. Your appointment is now, so have a seat and get ready for transformation. Well, hello and welcome to the Lessons from Your Hairstylist podcast. I'm your host and hairstylist friend, Sarah Cruz. And today I'm excited to have a friend of mine on. I have known this lady for quite some time. We met several years ago and we've been following each other's journey. And again, like I always say on this podcast, this is all about transformation. And Cintoria is not only very transformative in her own life, she's a hairstylist, author, and host of Set the Stage Coach podcast. She is a survivor and advocate for those who are dealing with mental health challenges in the aftermath of domestic violence. Her book, From Emptiness to Overflow, is the story of her own resilience and survival. Today, she thrives and helps others through her work as a hairstylist, and I cannot wait to talk to her today. Cintoria, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited to just get into your story because it's so inspirational. Like I said, I've been following you for quite some time, and this podcast just it exists to hopefully empower, motivate, inspire, help other people in whatever path that they might be on. And so bringing you on is giving us a different take on some of the situations that some of us could be dealing with behind the scenes that nobody else may know about. And I know that all of our personal lives are sort of backstage, and what we show to the world is more front of stage. And sometimes that can be a real struggle. Just dealing day to day with life responsibilities and all of the things that we have going on, that's one thing. But if you're also dealing with something that's very troubling behind the scenes, such as domestic violence, relationship issues, toxicity, things like that, it can be absolutely crippling and honestly can take a toll on your health. And I know that a lot of people do deal with that, whether they would bring that to the forefront or not. So I'm just very glad to be able to have this discussion today for those who may be suffering in silence. If you could tell us just a little bit about you and about your book, From Emptiness to Overflow. Share a little bit about the inspiration for that book and your story.
Sure. The story started, it was really based on my life when I was a young girl. I started from that perspective. I was journaling when I was about 10 or 11, and I was going through some emotional challenges that were steered to being separated from my parents. And that book is based on my life story when I was a young girl, just going through some different challenges, trying to understand, like, why did I go through this? Like, why was I separated from my mom and dad? And what is this pain that I'm feeling, right? Which led me to continue to write as I continue to experience life as an adult. Even becoming a mother. So it just talks about the relationships that I had, trying to understand love and trying to understand what boundaries looked like and trying to win me back, because like when you don't understand love, you haven't been taught love, you have to really just advocate for yourself to try to figure out what does love look like, Yeah.
Yeah. How did you come about the idea that you even needed to advocate for yourself? If nobody had shown you any love, no one had supported you early on, how did you even know that you were somebody that needed to be advocated for and that you should do that?
Well, that's a good question. So I was, I'm just saying I was self-harming. And I used that as a way to release pain. And so that was one of the light bulbs that said, you know what, this ain't, you're not enjoying this, Cintoria, you know? And I wasn't, like, I was not enjoying that experience of seeing myself cry daily, seeing myself in a hurtful position where I didn't have peace in my life. I was watching other people laugh, smile, and enjoy peace, and that type of peace I wanted. You know, I wanted to experience what it felt like just to say, man, I feel good. Because I wasn't feeling good. I wanted
Yeah.
to enjoy that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it stems from that.
So you had this emptiness going on, just like your book said, from emptiness to overflow. So that was sort of the start of the emptiness going on in your life, and you started to realize, well, I hate the way this feels. I don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
What happened after that as you started to grow?
So I started seeking help. So I started reaching out in certain areas in my life that that brought me joy, if that makes sense. Just like in the hair. Hair was one of my elements where I had the opportunity to create some art. And I was stimulated by that. I was stimulated by the fact that I love high fashion hair. And I was able to like go on to sets and things like that to just to express myself. That's the best way I can explain that, right? And as a hairstylist, it's like we often find ourselves even listening to many stories of our clients express things of hurt, pain. And I was like, man, I didn't realize how I'm already at a platform. You know what I mean? Well, on the platform, just being in the salon, being able to like listen to these individuals, but also being aware of my own challenges that I'm facing, how I want to become better, because they are looking up to me. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
just as a hairstylist, but as a person that brings change, not only to a person's hair, but to their mind, soul, heart, and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and about bringing change and transformation to someone else. So you sought out healing really through creativity and your art of doing hair. That
Right.
led you into the salon where you're connecting with other people. They're looking to you for advice. You're also suffering along in your own way as well. Would you say that that is sort of the catalyst that took you into your mentorship and your coaching of other
Yeah.
people?
That's
Mm-hmm.
how my organization started. Honestly, I had just got out of a second abusive relationship, and that we talk about the cycles of abuse, right? How not knowing what it is can actually put you back into the same cycle in the same place. And so I wanted change. And so one day I remember sitting down in my apartment, and I just like, God, just give me a ministry. Not knowing I already had one, but when you put it on paper, it's like, okay, it makes sense. Just like when you develop whatever God leads in your life and you start developing it on paper, it start making sense day by day. And I just needed a name. I said, God, I just need a name. And so I sat at my computer desk. I probably written so many names, and it was led down to the end where the name came about, Past the Beauty, because I was a hairstylist. And in
Mm.
passing beauty and passing knowledge, I'm passing this on to other clients. I'm like, yeah, Past the Beauty. That's what I'm doing. I am Past the Beauty.
Yes.
And so that led me to be able to advocate and do hair for local domestic violence shelters for women, children who wasn't feeling their best, who just probably didn't have the money to get a simple haircut or hairstyle. So I was providing those services free of charge.
Hmm. And sometimes through healing our own pain, I feel like when we reach out to connect with and help others, it almost heals us in a way. Did you
Oh
feel
yes.
that yourself?
Oh yes. Oh
Mm,
heck yes. Like
mm-hmm,
those women was going through things I've never even experienced going through, right?
mm-hmm.
And so just listen to other people's stories. And first of all, just listening. Because some people just need an ear. You know what I mean? And sometimes some people's stories need to be heard for you to kind of like gravitate to like, God, I ain't the only one. There is hope. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it truly blessed me. It actually pushed me harder within my organization to serve women impacted by domestic violence.
You know, you and I work behind the chair and you hear stories day in and day out. Sometimes it can get really heavy. I had a whole day the other day where there was catastrophic things going on in every single one of my clients' lives that day. It was that type of day, complete devastation. And when you are focused in on people who are dealing with violent situations at home, toxicity at home, things that are within their relationships and within their lives that could be abusive or very negative at the very least. How did you listen to that day in and day out, and how did you remain positive inside? Because you're a very positive person. You've always, like, from what we see on the outside, and I know there's a lot that goes on the inside, but
Yeah,
you always have a smile. You always have a big personality. You're always somebody that seems like you could go to
yeah,
in order to just feel supported and happy. So, but how do you maintain that when you're hearing so much ugliness
yeah.
over the time?
So, there was some ups and downs in that. You know what I mean? I think with everything, you have to be able to learn the strategy behind even, just even behind, standing behind the chair. And that comes with life experiences. Because I've dealt with so much conflict in my life over the years, I was able to listen to stories like, oh yeah, I understand that. You know what I mean? So let me see if I can provide this resource. But you always have to ask first because a lot of times we want to force ourselves. We want to just suggest. It's always appropriate to ask if that individual is comfortable enough or if she's ready, he or she is ready to get the help they need. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times you'll find yourself, you're listening to these clients on a daily basis, but they're just talking. A lot of them not ready yet. And it's like you will know when they ready because
Mm-hmm.
there'll be a certain change about them, just like what happened to me. I would
Mm-hmm.
say things over and over again, and now as time went by, I'm like, man, time is really going by until you make that decisive decision. Like, you know what, I'm ready. Like I am
Mm-hmm.
ready. Same with the podcast. Man, I want to do this. I want to do the podcast. I talked
Mm-hmm.
about it so much. I said, you know what? Let me just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to sometimes just do it and not worry about perfection.
Yes,
Wh-
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, because it's all going to work out for the good.
Yeah. Do you think listening to your clients and identifying the things that they were talking about, as you had developed those things for yourself, and then you're listening to your clients, do you think that you almost kind of developed a system for helping people, like maybe your own framework? Was there some sort of process that developed that allowed you to then take your coaching to another level where you're actually putting it out there?
Well, that's a good question because when you're thinking about developing anything and that you have a passion for, you are literally sometimes feel like you're going in circles, right? I had to really truly believe in what the product that I was developing was worthy, right? Because of my life experiences. And I knew that I had to find myself in workshops and in some form of training to become better in what I do. Is every day perfect in this journey? No. Every day is not perfect. I am still learning from day to day. Things are evolving. Doctors are evolving. Hairstylists are. Everyone is evolving, trying to figure out how to better educate themselves to be able to practice what they do and what they love in a more effective way. Does that make
Uh-huh.
sense?
Yeah, yeah. So your process is ever developing and your approach is always changing because as you learn and you grow, you develop new ways of being able to address and help. And that's a skill, that's a muscle you've got to develop too, is putting yourself out there and making
Yes,
yourself try
ma'am.
and not being afraid of failure.
Yes, ma'am.
When you're speaking to your clients or behind the chair, or you come across somebody who's dealing with something very personal, like you've already survived, What messages do you aim to really convey to them? What are some of the first things that you advise people on when they're going through something really heavy at home?
I would probably ask like these particular questions. Are you ready to choose you? Right? Which
Oh,
is really important. Where do you see yourself going? What's either healing you, bringing you joy, and what's denying you of what you and who you are? You know what I mean? That's why critical thinking is important. It helps
yeah.
you understand your thoughts and process. And sometimes like your thoughts can get you in trouble because your thoughts can take you away from what it is that you're supposed to do. So I guess
Mhm.
you have to evaluate your environment, right? And ask yourself, who am I choosing? Are you choosing everybody else and their thoughts and opinions and feedback, what they're thinking of you, those individuals who's not investing in you? Or are you surrounding yourself by those who do invest in you, that pushes you, that make you want to choose yourself?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you're so in the middle of a situation and you kind of can't see out past it, it might take somebody like you to say to them, are you ready to choose you?
Yeah,
What kind of life do you really want to have? Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? It's almost just like having that encouragement from the outside to remind you, hey, are you are you choosing you
yeah.
or what are you doing here? Kind of thing.
You have to be willing to look at yourself and bet on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at yourself in the mirror like, dang, I got this. I'm
Uh-huh.
worthy. You know? And so that's just the main character of life is just do it. You know what I mean? Like Nike, just do it. Like every day's not gonna be perfect. I've been through so many trials and tribulations, Sarah. You probably couldn't even tell me that I couldn't achieve nothing. Even if I made the mistakes or failed at it. I just don't look at life how most look at life, you know?
What do you think some of the common misconceptions are about mental health and domestic violence that you encounter when you speak to people? How do you address them when you're in your work?
In regards of mental health, um, I would probably say the most important thing is to remember that someone is out there willing and able to listen to an individual who's dealing with mental health. Because the whole thing with mental health is, oh, they just want attention. No, they're needing help. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And most people that deal with mental health issues are the ones that you see laughing all the time and smiling all the time, that's dealing with life. And you know, just they're dealing with some hard severe depression, right, or anxiety. So it's
Uh-huh.
always good to ask that important question to individuals, especially if you
Uh-huh.
haven't seen anyone. How you doing?
Uh-huh.
And you ask that one question, a lot of times you find people breaking down crying. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so,
Uh-huh.
in regards of mental health and and domestic violence is so common and shouldn't be. I just hate to say that it's a common thing that's going on, that's happening every day in people's homes, on the jobs, in the workplace. Of course, that's with bullying, because a lot of individuals from young adults to older adults to children are being bullied, you
Uh-huh.
know, regardless if they're in the workplace or home, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I advocate for domestic violence the way that I do because I am a victim, but I am a survivor of domestic violence, right? And
Yeah.
so I know how mental health and domestic violence can play with each other because if I'm not feeling my best, if I don't feel like I'm worthy, and if he's hitting on me, and if I don't love myself, I'm going to think that's love.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to
Uh-huh.
think the way he talks to me is because he's trying to protect me from somebody else, but he's the one that's doing the bashing. Or,
Uh-huh.
and it could be he or she because domestic violence sometimes don't have a gender. You know what I mean? You know,
Uh-huh.
so I like to make that clear that um, whenever you experience any form of domestic violence, whether it's for, verbal abuse or the physical harm or financial abuse, whatever it may be, understand that you still have to choose you and be comfortable with understanding what domestic violence is. If you do not know what it is, Google it, look it up. It's all forms of violence because a lot of times people just do not know.
Uh-huh.
And it will play a hard ball on your mental health.
And sometimes you may dismiss something as not being serious, but over time, do you find that over time, even if it doesn't seem like it's clear cut and dried, maybe if you're not sure if something is really abusive or it's not, over time, do you find it can still have traumatic effects on somebody's mental health?
Oh yeah, I I deal with trauma. Like my memory sometimes has an impact on me because of so much that I went through, right? And sometimes I have to catch myself because I don't like people standing behind me, you know what I mean? Or shouting, you know. There was a time, Sarah, and I don't think I ever told anybody this, or maybe I have. When I went through domestic violence, I became angry.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I was
Uh-huh.
angry at myself. I was angry at life. I was like, why me? Why do I gotta keep going through this? I didn't want nobody to talk to me. When people showed love, I thought they was lying. I was dealing with a whole lot of trust issues. It took the act of God to show me who I really was. And when I looked in that mirror, because I denied myself so much because I didn't have a voice. And that's the reason why I always talk about having a voice is really, really important.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you think that turning point was where you just looked in the mirror and you said, "Okay, this is it." Do you remember a specific time or
Girl,
certain?
I looked at my personality. My personality. The day that I died, I'm gonna just say that the day that I colored my hair blonde was phase one.
I love that.
I got out of that dark hair and baby, it started matching my personality. Cause I'm gonna tell you something. I was a person that really didn't talk. When I say that, people are like, what? I was not that communicative. You know what I
I
mean?
can't
Like,
imagine that. I
yeah.
can't imagine that.
I was afraid to talk. And this is another thing I really don't talk about because of my disability. I have a speech and language issue, right? And so I wasn't as confident because I used to stutter a little bit and I could not get the words out. And I said, man, do I have to say big words to sound smart? And God started using me and giving me the language that I needed and showed me how to take my time. Even when I'm nervous, God showed me how to create a balance with my speech and language to say, you know what? I am worthy to have my voice heard, so take my
Mm.
time. I don't have to
Yeah.
feel rushed. And so I started building confidence from that. And when that
Mm.
confidence and self-love started building, so did my hair. I started changing all type of colors. So
Yes. Well, it can just snowball, can it? When there's one thing and you build on that and then you build on something else, you
yeah,
build on something else, and it starts to build your confidence, you do get to a point where you don't you feel like there's really nothing you couldn't accomplish.
yeah.
And so when someone is kind of in that dark hole and they kind of can't see any way out, what would you tell them as far as what's the first step? I know it's like, are you putting you first? I mean, are you ready to choose you? What's the next thing after that? What's the next thing after? Are you ready to choose you? If the answer is yes, I'm ready to choose me, then what's the next step? What do you tell
Go
somebody?
start doing stuff that you love. Go take yourself out on a date. Don't wait on no friends. Don't wait on your whoever. Don't just explore opportunities for yourself that you like, not what others like for you.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what is it that you like.
If someone's in a situation where they feel like they're unable to explore if they feel like they're unable to explore opportunities or work on themselves, maybe they feel restricted in some way or they don't feel free to do that. What could be in the first mental tool that they could use if they're ready to choose them, but they don't really have physically the freedom to be able to do that? Maybe they're in a situation where, they're being monitored or, somebody is controlling them in some way. What's the next step past that, do you think?
Woo, that's deep.
That's deep.
Yeah, that's deep, Sarah. Because like I'm literally like when I was in those situations where I didn't have a phone or when I didn't have access to an internet or um didn't have access to things everyday normal things. You know
Yeah.
what I did? I
What?
went where there were advocacy groups, no matter if it was a
Mm-hmm.
community center, no matter if it was a church. I put myself in areas where I could dream.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when
Yeah.
I started dreaming, and then when I became comfortable enough to talk about my dreams and vision with individuals, yeah, things start changing. You know?
Oh,
See, I'm a young lady from the south side of Chicago. I'm born and raised from Chicago, right? So I have always seen violence. But then when I moved to Nashville, I moved in low income. And so there was always a chance that I was going to see something. But there were times I didn't have a phone. There were times I didn't have internet because I couldn't afford it. But I would have access to Martha O'Brien Center.
mm,
We was welcome to go in the resource center and get on their computers and use their internets and talk to them if we needed some resources or a bus card or gas card. Honey, I done came a long way.
yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, when you feel like you don't have anything, go take a walk.
Mm, mm-hmm.
You understand what
Mm,
I'm saying? Because God will
mhm.
lead you to where you need to go. He will guide your footsteps. Yeah.
Mm, that's beautiful. That is so uplifting to anyone out there who is at a loss and feels alone. What can I do? Seek that out, seek out that advocacy, that support in any little way that you can,
Yeah.
whatever's available to you. Maybe seek out your hairstylist,
Yeah.
Cintoria,
Yeah.
to as a friend,
Yeah. I said
you
that what
know?
I was going to start doing, Sarah, that I'm going to start having little get-togethers with my clients, even my past clients, because I'm just part-time right now,
Mhm.
but you just never know how you can build a community with your clients
Oh,
outside
yeah.
of the salon, which is
Yes.
important too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sometimes when some of your clients can meet each other, they feel like they have a community. For us, it's weird because, or at least for me, I feel like I have a community, but they don't all know each other. I just know all them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes you see certain ones of your clients where you feel like, oh, they might benefit from this person over here. Or they might like getting to know this person over here where they can feel like they're supported and
Right. Yeah.
have a network. And I think just having support and having people around emboldens you and empowers you to feel like you can do something. Then I think anytime you're isolated or alone, it's a lot harder as if you have somebody. Do you have like an experience, that one experience that sticks out in your mind in the salon that maybe you've seen one of your clients transform or you've sort of helped them through an issue?
Oh, I had many of clients like that, right? I mean, I like seriously, I had clients that I encouraged. They was encouraged to go do hair, become hairstylists. So I had clients that went to school, went to Paul Mitchell, to become a hairstylist. I had clients who was motivated, inspired to become a nonprofit advocate.
Wow.
And yeah, girl, I think my big personality, I inspire a lot of people, which led me to
I
do.
know you do.
They love my little big personality, which
I love it too. I love it too. Yes.
I just want to continue to be a force out here for the right thing and not the wrong thing. And I just want to be able to continue to build my platform and network and to communicate with coaches and leaders like you all. I find it really, really a blessing that hairstylists always turn their life into a coach. We become coaches and not even realize that we've been a coach since day one, since we got that license, right? And God always have a plan for us. He always have a plan. That's my goal, is to continue to network like with you all.
Yeah. Yeah. All of us together helping each other to do the good that we can in the community and to help other people. And you're right. I think that this type of work is like a ministry in a way because you are with people all day long and you get to know people on a personal level. You build that trust And I think we have more impact than we even realize. Was one of the reasons, again, why I wanted to start this podcast, because it was like, it's such a valuable relationship and a connection that you have with your clients. I wanted to somehow try to bring that and sort of bring people together on a platform so we could learn and grow together.
Yeah.
And I love that. And you're doing the same thing. You know, I do think we're naturally geared in that way sometimes. How do you envision the movement for healing and empowerment evolving in the coming years? I mean, what are some things that the hairstylist community could do to see people a little bit better, to be a little bit more conscientious of like who's sitting in my chair, what could be going on, and maybe how could I help people who are in trouble?
Yeah. So one of the things I really think far as the beauty professionals should really tap into is getting training, receiving some form of training. Now I know they started the domestic violence training, and it was so ironic because I remember I put that bug I was just talking to the state board about domestic violence, and bam, we had domestic violence training. I don't know.
You've had an impact on that.
I don't know, but it was led by the training. I just really feel like because life is changing from day to day, from politics, from spirituality, from life lessons, whatever you may be going through. It's just good to have a perspective on a narrative on what some certain languages mean, the terms mean, when it comes to anything that's dealing with DV, partner abuse, mental health, bullying, your children, financial hardship. So it's an everyday education, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
whole that's a whole
Oh,
other
it's a
conversation.
whole education, that and trying to help your clients,
Yeah.
trying to be a support to your clients as well. So when you're trying to run a business like that and you've got all of these other elements that you're dealing with, you you do have to sort of tune into people a little bit and be present. It's
Yeah.
hard sometimes to be present because you've
Because
got all that stuff going on that you're thinking about, in the back of your mind. So what would be maybe a couple of things that somebody could clue into in order to maybe recognize that something might be going on with one of their clients, or maybe even could be going on with somebody that they love or somebody in their world? What might be an indicator of recognizing some signs, and then so that you could maybe just at least be a support to them?
well, one of his body language and the conversation. So here's the thing, like my old self wish I would have done this. I wish I would have put language at my station. Just like when you walk into a center or whatever, community center, whatever, you say like, okay, this is a no bully zone. Or if you know someone who's impacted by domestic violence, who's a victim of domestic violence, call this number. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those are
Mm-hmm.
things I wish I would have done, and I could still do that. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the real aha moment.
Mm. Okay, bracing for it. What is it?
You ready?
I'm ready.
Do you know why a lot of beauty professionals are not comfortable with talking about domestic violence?
No.
Because they are a victim.
Wow.
A
Yeah.
lot of beauty professionals are going through domestic violence in
Mm.
their own homes.
Mm.
Remember, I was a victim.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you have a lot of men are the perpetrator. You know what I mean? So, and you have a lot of women that are abusing. So it's vice versa. So no, it's not a comfortable conversation. And because I had a taste of different environments where I worked in barbershops, I worked in a diverse barbershop and salon. I worked in high-end barbershops and salons. I've done that. I had a taste of all type of different environments. A lot of times we're not acceptable
Mm.
to learning
Mhm.
what domestic violence is and how to stop it because we're going through it. So those are denial factors that's in place.
Oh, that's tough because when you're going through it,
I'm not
it's like,
comfortable with talking about this.
yeah,
My hairstylist, I don't want
right.
nobody looking at me thinking I'm being abused. So,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
do see the signs of my client because why? I'm going through it or I've been
Mm.
through it.
Mm.
So it's
Mhm.
deep. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
It is deep. It is, yes, it is deep.
Yeah.
You have a very wide range of people that you have worked with, and you've lived in different life situations. So you're in tune to recognizing probably different things than maybe some other people might be. And so I think you are very well equipped to be in the position of a coach and of a mentor and as somebody who is an advocate, because
Thank you.
you're an authority on it. You are somebody who has lived it. You've survived it. You've developed strategies, coping mechanisms, survival mechanisms, and you're out here now giving that gift to other people who may be coming up behind you who are also dealing with it. And it may not just be clients, you just brought that to light. Hey,
Yeah.
it's not just clients. It's not just our clients. It's
Yeah.
the people that work with us in our community, maybe in our own salon,
Yeah.
in our own industry, or are dealing with that. So, if you could inspire one major change in society regarding how we talk about mental health and domestic violence, what would it be?
Continue to lead while broken.
Oh, that's good.
Continue to lead while broken. I don't care what you may be going through. I don't care if you feel like you're not good enough. You're going to get there. If God can
Mhm.
use his people, he can use us.
That's just a mic drop. Mic drop. It's like there's just nothing else to be said after that. That's fantastic. That's beautiful.
Thank
That is beautiful. And I think that's a fantastic note to end on. I do want to do one last little thing. I do have a segment I like to do
you. Oh,
every episode called Cut It or Keep It.
let's go.
This is a take on, you and I every day in the salon, we decide, hey, is this hair, is it worth keeping, or are we just going to cut that off? Same kind of concept. I'm going to ask you about a few things here, and you tell me whether you would cut it or keep it. So, cut it or keep it. Emotional vulnerability. Should we allow ourselves to be emotionally vulnerable? Emotional vulnerability. Cut it or keep it.
Oh, I'll cut it. I've been through that. Woo! Cut it.
Ah, you're like, nope.
Cut it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cut it. Because you just don't, is it like a wall? Is it like,
Well,
what do you
being
think?
vulnerable to the wrong people is a weakness and that they attack.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Cut it or keep it. Positive affirmations.
I'll keep it.
Okay. You feel like they work. Some
Yeah.
people, they're like, oh, it's just fluff, but you practice.
Yeah. You think it.
Think it to yourself.
Yeah.
Cut it or keep it. Therapy as an essential rather than a luxury.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Yeah. No, I think therapy sometimes is looked at as a luxury for those who can afford it, but I feel that it could be made available more widely. I think everybody needs some type of therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Definitely.
Cut it or keep it. This resilience culture.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's
I
the
like to be in
positivity.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that everything that I see in you and how you've come through everything, I think we have to be resilient. I love that as well. So I agree with you. And cut it or keep it. Forgiveness without reconciliation.
Woo! Dang it.
Can we forgive and not reconcile with someone, or is forgive or can you not really forgive if you're not willing to reconcile? What do you think?
I'll keep it.
Keep it.
Yeah. Oh, you get me on that one.
I know. It's like deep thoughts. It's not really yes or no. Sometimes I do like a yes or no. It's like you say cut it or keep it, and then most of the guests are like, "Girl, it's not that cut and dried. Like you got to talk about it." So yeah,
Okay.
I understand. Well, Centoria, thank you so much for coming on. I have
Thank
loved getting to see you. Can you tell everyone where exactly they can find you and where they might access some of your offerings and also your book?
Yeah. So you can reach me at setthestagecoach@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or you would like for me to come to your establishment, your environment to speak, I am happy to do that. And also my nonprofit is www.pastthebeautyinc.org.
Perfect. And what about your book?
So you can purchase my book on Amazon, From Emptiness to Overflow.
From Emptiness to Overflow is Cintoria's book that can be purchased on Amazon, and we will put all of that information in the show notes so that you are sure to have everything that you need at your fingertips so that you can get in touch with my good friend Cintoria. Cintoria, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure seeing you today. I appreciate your time. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Lessons from Your Hairstylist. I hope you found inspiration and actionable insights to embrace your unique beauty and elevate your life. Remember, it's all about taking small steps towards a happier, healthier you. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. Together, let's continue unlocking the secrets to living beautifully fulfilled. Until our next appointment, keep your thoughts on your visions, your self-talk kind, and remember to keep your heart open so you don't miss any opportunities waiting for you out there. I'll see you on the next one.